Hello viewers, thank you for joining us here today. The financial sector, which is in so many ways the backbone of the country, is viewed as a technology agnostic space. However, unlike the yesteryears, the financial industry is using technology like never before to offer superior customer experience. To speak more about how technology is redefining the financial sector, it's a pleasure to have with us here today Mr. Piyush Srivastav, the head of IT at Muthoot Group. Welcome, Piyush. Thank you so much for joining us here today. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thanks, Supriya, for having me on this call. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, Piyush. So like I was saying, Piyush is an industry veteran with over 20 years of versatile experience in IT under various domains like telecom, hospitality, banking, finance, retail, engineering, and construction. He is an expert in leading IT implementations, operations, and delivery, along with transitioning projects and client management and people management. So Piyush, you have so much experience in the financial industry. So you know that financial industry is sometimes viewed as not very open to technology. However, there is a lot of demand from the customer side. How are you keeping up with the ever increasing demands for transformation?
See, I think the way we look at it, technology is everywhere. If we talk about like 10, 15 years from now, or even say 20 years, it was very different. The technology was separate to business. We were all talking about hardware, or we were talking about certain applications, command-based applications, etc. But I think as we progressed and as we had more fintechs coming in, more technology, we as in financial sector could not stay away from technology. Also to say, where the problem comes in terms of financial sector is in terms of the kind of compliance and the customer data we are keeping, how the competition is in the market, and how much we need to ensure that our customers stay with us. I think that's where this whole technology part comes into picture, and how much we can adapt and adopt it. Also this fact of security, if we're keeping our data, let's say on the cloud, or let's say at a data center managed by others, I think this has been the problem for a very long time. Now, of late, this has actually changed. Also because I would not say entirely due to pandemic, but yes, people have taken a step towards it. They have seen that it was much easier for them to to work in different locations using the cloud, and also in keeping the data secured, whether it's endpoint or in the cloud. Plus, a lot of these IT initiatives, technologies were there, which were more across various domains, not just necessarily financial sector. And these could be, these were more accustomed, or to say cloud native, and they could be customized according to the operations which we have in the financial sector. So keeping aside just the compliance and the customer data to one side, I think for all the rest of the business within the company, within the financial sector, a lot of people have actually adopted the technology. Now also there was a demand from the customer side. Customer was also very keen to work on different technology. For them, like let's say in our sector, in banking sector, or let's say in NBFC, specifically to our kind of the business where we are actually giving gold loans, it is very important that for the customer to come to the branch, because he has to give the gold, right? But apart from that, he would want rest of the things to be automated. That includes, him or her able to pay the interest or do their mind mappings, and how they are comfortable is not in terms of some very high-end kind of an application accessible to them. It has to be on the mobile, right? So, and within the mobile as well, he has to actually, he should be able to use a technology which he is comfortable with. That's like WhatsApp. So, that is the kind of integration which all the fintechs have helped us, or let's say all the financial companies have actually gone into. And that's where the adoption comes in. It becomes a necessity because it is the ease of the customer to actually interact, and also a requirement. Especially NBFCs, if you see, they are more for that sector of people who are unable to take, loans elsewhere, or let's say, they don't have a collateral and they would want to pledge something else apart from their bank account. So for that, it's a necessity for people in difficult situations, and that's where NBFCs come into picture and assist. And by providing them this technology, we actually help them get closer to our operations, and also eventually get what they want. So I think in terms of adoption, it's all change in the model which has happened over the years. Financial sector has become very technology driven, and with a lot of these fintechs coming in, I think we all have understood the need. We as well as the customer has understood the need of technology as core to our business.
Piyush, I mean, you set a wonderful context for the conversation that we're going to have today. So Piyush, you very rightly mentioned about, customer demanding certain technology, the customer asking for a certain experience, and, through WhatsApp and things like that. So Piyush, how are you at Muthoot integrating customer experience into IT deliverables?
So for us, if you talk about Muthoot, specifically to Muthoot, our requirement is that we cater to a customer at the earliest, because he or she would want to have the loan given as a matter of urgency, I would say, because they are coming here with the gold, right, pledging the gold. So the experience is limited for that person to having the money given to him or her, right? They are not too much bothered about the rest, and they would just want the money, right? And also the security. So because these are not like bricks of gold, or these are like jewelry items which they have from their right from their family. So they're coming here and keeping the gold, like they're pledging, and so for that they would need to be assured that their gold is safe, right? And for them to come and get the money. So these are two basic things they're looking at, and that is what we need to cater to. The whole business of ours runs around this, how to give gold quickly. Now, apart from having our core applications and integrating them so that they have we're able to process these, but then there are compliance issues as well, where RBI would want certain KYC to be done, plus and also giving us access to do that kind of a KYC. Like eKYC till now was not something which was applicable, but now as NBFCs we can go ahead with eKYC. So we were doing digital KYC. So there were certain delays, let's say, in doing that, and primarily because we are having a third party to do the authentication. Plus, to internal frauds also we have to look at having an authentication both from the staff and from the customer. So that's like a biometric. Now, why we have these is to ensure that there is no fraud, plus the gold is safe, and when the customer sees this happening in front of them, they feel more secure, right? Plus obviously the business is there are different schemes which make them comfortable to take a loan, and the kind of flexibility also we have. So that's more on the business side, but in terms of technology, we have to bring all these in front of the customer to actually experience it. Now that's more when a person is coming to the branch to pledge the gold, right? And then he sees his gold taken away and put in the locker, right? Now all that gives the customer a sense of security, of feeling of security regarding his or her belongings. Now, keeping the gold safe is another challenge for us, because each of our branches have a locker, not a locker, but a strong room. Now, how we can actually ensure digitally and automating all that without putting a dependency on the staff for that is very important. So we have actually 7 layers of security and that's one of the probably not none of the banks I know have done that, and that could also be because the kind of model we work in. So we have 7 layers of security, and I would not be able to talk about each of them because these are not something which is visible. But we have used technologies like artificial intelligence, right? Then IoT, to say Internet of Things, where we have messages going, and accordingly some actions are taken such that gold is released, to say. So, and then the physical things like a strong room and a lock, all those apart from the physical features of in the infrastructure, we've also got turnstiles which let only one person enter at a time in selected branches. So this is what a customer feels different when he comes, and that's something also which he or she can go and tell the others. Now that's not primarily what our objective is. Our objective is the trust, because for last 6 to 8 years we have been the most trusted financial brand. So and to say Muthoot is already associated with gold and trust. So this is a very important factor, goodwill and the name of the company. So these technology interventions make the customer feel more secure. Plus, when he goes back, for him or her to still remain to be connected to us, we have all the digital options. Like we have, as I mentioned to you, we have WhatsApp, but that WhatsApp is connected to chatbot. So our digital chatbot is an AI-enabled chatbot. It actually ensures that all the bank transactions are there except for gold deposit. That's something which lead generation to bank mapping, so that they can actually do the transactions or their top-ups if they want to do. Then that can come to the banks, plus interest payments. So we have all these facilities on the go. You can do that on the go. Now we've seen that of late our customers have also become very technically aware. As in, we have most of our customers are primarily middle or lower middle income kind of a group. But probably because of how digitization has worked in the last 2 years or 3 years, people have become very conversant with these tools like and channels, so they can also go on the app and do their transactions. So we've seen a lot of traction coming in from these channels, and what has happened is that they have continued doing it even now when things have become improved. They have improved. So digitally also we have these options for them, and that's where we have got these interventions in place. Also in terms of let's say recovery or reminders, we've got these artificial intelligence AI-enabled voice bots. So this is a very new thing I have seen. Last 3 to 4 years, I think this has come up, and this has grown also over the years because there's been a lot of learning in the voice bot industry, in technology, and they have become very conversational, and they talk the way we are talking right now, right, to you and so it's very similar to that. And the customer, I feel that he's more comfortable talking to a bot sometimes. Reason being that if you're talking about a recovery kind of a scenario, then somebody's asking for money, right? And he or she may not be that comfortable, talking about their financial situation to them. So with the bot, they are more comfortable. We've seen that, if not more, but it works at the same rate as what a human would do. So we can easily put our staff on better, or let's say on more productive work, to say, or more value add kind of an activity. But for the customer, it is like he is reminded of that he has to do his payments. He's reminded of his EMIs. Then also he's aware and he knows that the company is in touch with him, even if it's for bot. So overall, we would not want the customer not to be aware of what's going on, and just to create an ecosystem for him where he feels connected, and and taken care of.
That was a great insight, Piyush. Thank you so much. I think it'll be fabulous for the viewers to know that, it doesn't just end with them giving gold and taking money. There's so much technology that is happening in the back. I mean, artificial intelligence and IoT,
right?
Everything is being applied to the transactions. Thank you so much for that insight. It was truly wonderful to listen to. So, Piyush.
So just one more, actually, Supriya, I just wanted to mention about the loan at home facility. We have actually, for people who cannot come to the branch, we have got loan at home facility as well. That's a very new initiative, and it's really picking up well. Instead, it's more like a different banking we are doing. We want to grow the loan at home segment separately as compared to how it is in branch. So though 85% of our customers walk in, but we would want a lot of the same kind of attraction on loan at home. So we do video KYC, and then somebody can go using a loan at home app and kind of take the gold. So there's proper tracking also available in the app to ensure that so again, an experience for a customer, and ease for the customer. Yeah. So just wanted to mention that as well.
That's great. I mean, thank you for sharing that with us. So, Piyush, now I can only imagine the kind of transactions that you do on a daily basis, and the kinds of massive amounts of data that it is generating. It must be like, so much. So how are you sort of leveraging this transactional and organizational data to reach the objectives of your organization?
So see, we have about, I think about 25 lakhs of transactions a day, and about 60. We have about 60 lakhs of existing customers, with us, and so that's a huge amount of information, and 60 lakhs of active customers, I would say. So we've had a lot of customers in about 75 crores of 70 crores of customers, I would say we've had till now. So that's nearly half of the Indian population, to say. And it's so we have about 5,000 branches, and so this whole setup is really huge. This network is big, and so are the customers and the data we have, right? So we have an hourly monitoring system. So our core banking software keeps giving us an hourly update in terms of how much of loans have been taken, how many have been closed. So we can aggressively kind of at the same time we can work, we can inform our branches or regions to look at the situation, or kind of work, because then we can work towards our targets as well. So we have assigned targets. So one is obviously the data which we have is for the customers, then we have for the staff. When it comes to customers, then our CRM application, we have one of the finest, or I would say, a very popular CRM application used in the financial industry, banking sector in India. So that gives us a lot of information in terms of the demographic details and the paying pattern and the kind of customers, So we are able to leverage that as well. And our marketing teams do a lot of marketing in terms of media marketing, BTL, and so all that data is leveraged, and we have campaigns also running based on that data. Now, how we work on the campaigns is that every time there's a campaign, we have a landing page, and anybody who wants to look at the campaign, they can go, and from there we can generate leads as well. So a lot of this information is with us. Also, the core banking software is something which has been developed by us, as in we have our own development team. So that's something which we've created, and a lot of the integration between CRM and CBS, it gives us a very holistic picture when we look at it within our databases. So I think that's where the customer focus is. But in terms of how we perform, it's very important that we have our own performance data as well with the staff, and that's where we have developed a lot of applications where we can assess the performance of the staff basis the leads being generated and converted, plus a customer feedback comes to the application. So there are different weightages which we've attached, which we can then accordingly assess the performance of the staff. Not as in the objective is to reward than to actually take any action, but more to reward, just to understand. And basis the data we have actually we run many competitions, and for the staff to actually take part, and accordingly the incentives. So probably a typical banking kind of a scenario, not that something very different, but yes, since we have so much of customer information, we have a lot of detailed analytics done on the customer and also on the performance of the branch. Like how much is the footfall, how many people actually visit the branch, how many take loans, and then accordingly, sizing the branch or kind of putting more efforts onto it, increasing, the manpower if you want. So that gives them, because of the branches, the number of branches, we'll have to be, we have to kind of segment them in different kind of categories in terms of the outstanding also, because how much of the loan is outstanding. Accordingly, that branch is structured and also monitored. So that's how it is. Yeah.
That was a wonderful, take on how data analytics, artificial intelligence, and everything is being used to leverage the kind of data that you have. So now that we are on the topic of data, data is considered the most sensitive when it comes to the financial sector. And you are, of course, aware that the government has introduced the new data privacy bill and they're inviting views. So Piyush, is there any view that you have on the new data privacy bill draft?
See, I think it is a good step. I think it's a good step towards data protection. But it is just an initial step. When I compare it to the other practices across the world, if I say, GDPR, which probably started sometime, I'm not sure probably about 10 years back it started, and then the compliance and then the issues, but it had actually become very big and very detailed, and there were penalties of huge amounts. There were penalties and people were very scared. I worked with an MNC and consulting, and I knew that how strict they were in terms of us handling their data. So yes, it was, but this is a smaller step towards it. I think there are different guidelines in terms of individual, how individuals need to manage their own data, plus how the people who have the data can actually use it, right? So there are a few 10-15 points there which are very clear and crisp, in terms of about the data protection board. I think there is a board as well which is going to manage this. That again has been established, which is good. Though it's not very clear how independent they would be in terms of their decisions. Plus, there is also this the cross-border kind of a transaction, the ease of transaction when it comes to across the border transaction. That would help many of the companies with their financial transactions across the board. Plus, I think it would help the startups as well. But it is a very initial stage. It is, if you look at it, it's just a part of a big GDPR, which was, conceived about 10 years back. And there's going to be a digital IT Act also, I think, eventually, which it will be part of. So I think we'll have to just wait for that to come. In my view, yes, it's good, but the government has a lot of control on the data. I feel they can actually also, if in the interest of the country, it would definitely be, there would be a lot of exemptions for the government organizations.
Thank you so much, Piyush, for this, for giving us so much insight into how technology is redefining the financial industry. I think it would be very interesting for our viewers to watch. It was very interesting for me to hear all the thoughts that you had. And it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, Piyush.
Same, thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you.
calling me. Thank you.